Sometimes in the quiet of our hearts, we ask a question that no one else can answer for us. Is my heart truly pure in the eyes of Allah? It's not a question you shout out loud. It's not something you tweet or post about for validation. It's whispered during the nights when you're overwhelmed by life, staring at the ceiling, wondering if all the effort you've put into being a better Muslim is even being accepted. It's when you've prayed, fasted, given charity, controlled your anger, but deep down, you still wonder, am I just performing rituals? Or am I really changing inside? This question, it doesn't care about how religious people think you are. It doesn't care about your beard, your hijab, how many Islamic quotes you repost, or whether you attend every khutbah. It's a question that strips you bare where only Allah sees the answer. The Prophet Defe reminded us that Allah doesn't look at your outward appearance or your wealth, but He looks at your hearts and your actions. So the condition of your heart is everything. It defines your relationship with Allah. And while no one can see your heart, Allah gives us signs, clues, to help us recognize when our hearts are in a state that He loves. Today, I want to share 3 powerful signs that your heart may truly be pure in Allah's eyes, and each one comes with a story that proves. In Islam, it's not the perfection of your deeds that matters, but the purity of your intentions. The first sign is empathy. Deep, sincere compassion that moves you to act even when your own needs haven't been met. A pure heart doesn't just feel for others, it moves for them. Let me take you back to a man named Abu Dada, a man whose story is rarely talked about, but whose sincerity was monumental. One day, the Prophet literally recited a verse from Surah Al-Baqarah, "Who will give to Allah a good loan, which He will multiply many times over." The verse wasn't talking about giving to a king or a leader, it was asking for a loan to Allah. Now imagine how that sounds. Allah, the one who owns everything, is asking you to lend to Him. Abu Dada heard this verse and was immediately shaken. He didn't consult his accountant. He didn't weigh the pros and cons. He went straight to the Prophet, said, Allah, does Allah want a loan from us? The Prophet said, yes. Without blinking, Abu Dada said, then I give him my orchard. And this wasn't just any orchard. It had over 600 date palm trees, a house, a well, and it was the only property he owned. His children were playing in it when he told his wife, come out. I gave this to Allah. That's not just charity, that's love. That's the heart that trusts in the unseen. That's a man who gave not from his excess, but from his essence. And Allah mentions that kind of giving, that kind of selfless empathy, as one of the traits of those who will be closest to Him. Because when you care so deeply for others that your own needs become secondary, that's when you know your heart beats not just for yourself, but for the Ummah, and for the sake of Allah. The second sign is a powerful one. It's self-reflection. A heart that is pure doesn't seek to appear righteous. It seeks to be righteous, even if no one knows. That's the difference. There are people who do good just enough to be noticed, and then there are people who are constantly looking inward, checking their intentions, repenting, recalibrating, because they know how easy it is for the ego to creep into even the best of deeds. I remember meeting a young brother who said something I'll never forget. After one of my lectures, he came up and said, "A brother, Nouman, every time I give sadaqah, or pray in public, or even say something good, I feel like I did it for the wrong reason. That maybe it wasn't sincere." He looked down like he had failed, and I told him that fear, that discomfort, that's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that your heart is still alive, because the ones who are spiritually dead don't feel that anymore. Their actions may look perfect, but they don't care whether Allah accepts them. They just care about looking good. Compare that to Umar ibn al-Khattab Ra, a man who was promised paradise by the Prophet lived yet, and yet he once asked Hudhaifa ibn al-Yaman, the keeper of the list of hypocrites, "Am I one of them?" Imagine the fear of a man so close to Allah still asking, "What if I'm not real?" That's the heart Allah loves. One that never becomes arrogant, never becomes complacent, always asking, "Was this truly for you, Ya Rab?" And if you find yourself doubting your intentions, constantly checking yourself, not settling for surface-level Islam, then that's a sign your heart is pure. Because you're not trying to impress people. You're trying to be honest with Allah. The third sign is perhaps the most difficult, yet the most beautiful: forgiveness. Real, painful, sincere forgiveness. Not the kind where someone bumps into you and you say, "It's okay." I'm talking about forgiving someone who wronged you deeply. Someone who broke your heart, betrayed your trust, and didn't even say sorry. The ability to let go, even when your heart still aches, is one of the most powerful signs of a heart connected to Allah. No story captures this more powerfully than the story of Yusuf as. Imagine being a child full of dreams, and the people you trust most, your own brothers, throw you into a well to die. Then they lie to your father, sell you into slavery, and live their lives as if nothing happened. Years later, after years of injustice, prison, and separation, Yusuf rises to power. And now, the brothers stand in front of him, desperate, powerless. Yusuf could have humiliated them. He could have imprisoned them. But what did he say? "No blame will be upon you today. May Allah forgive you." These are not the words of a man seeking revenge. These are the words of someone whose heart was never poisoned by hatred, even when he had every reason to hate. His heart was filled with something greater: mercy. That's what purity looks like. It's not weakness. It's strength. The strength to rise above your pain and remember that you forgive for Allah, not because the other person deserves it. And if you find yourself struggling to forgive, but you're still trying, still making dua, still pushing back the anger, then know this: that struggle itself is a sign your heart is leaning toward Allah, even when it hurts. So if you're asking yourself whether your heart is pure in Allah's eyes, don't look at how others perceive you. Don't count how many times people called you religious. Ask yourself, who am I when no one's watching? Do I rush to help others, even when I'm struggling myself? Do I question my intentions more than I question others' actions? Do I hold on to my pain, or do I try, even slowly, to forgive? Because purity isn't about being perfect. It's about being sincere. It's about returning to Allah again and again, no matter how many times you fall. It's about those moments when you cry during sujud, not because someone hurt you, but because you miss your connection with your Lord. If that's you, if you're still trying, still repenting, still asking Allah to purify you, then know this: Allah sees you. And in His eyes, that struggle may be more beloved than the outward perfection of 1,000 others.